parents I was going to be trying stand-up, their reaction was abject horror. They were convinced that I was going to immediately humiliate myself. It was verbatim, almost, what they said when I broke up with my uni girlfriend about 15 years ago. Do you honestly think anyone's going to like you? Now, I don't normally take advice from angry septuagenarians. Don't reform. But on that one, they were kind of dead on. But it was a self-fulfilling prophecy, because with that attitude, my mum was never going to set me up with any of her widowed friends. Lots of advantages there. One, their kids are all grown up. Two, they all remember my birthday. And three, they love knitting. And I think we all know what that means. No? New lingerie every night. Now then, my parents aren't the only ones that are concerned. There is a friend somewhere here in the audience that once advised me to try being less myself on dates. But this isn't going to be a 5-minute rant from a weirdo incel. I'm actually really sex positive. Some of my best friends are sluts. Give me an example. I've got 2 married friends. I'll anonymise them. So let's say they're called Steve and Elizabeth. And I got a notification one day that Steve had bought a ticket for an event called Joyride. And I hadn't heard of it, but we go to gigs together a lot. So I thought I'd check it out. I'm scrolling on the website, finding out the details, and I'm seeing things like consent forms, safeguarding officers, and no penetration on the dance floor. I realised that my mild-mannered, reserved, very married friend Steve had bought a ticket to an orgy. Now, you can all panic and now stop. It turns out that Steve and Elizabeth have become ethically non-monogamous. And if you're old-fashioned, what that means is basically, or at least for the purposes of this bit, an open marriage. If you heard that and you're thinking, oh dear, it sounds like it's the end of the road for them, you're wrong, because we're talking about millennials. There's one of 2 options. One, they're the coolest people in the world and they're heralding the next sexual revolution. Or 2, they're turning into sex goblins and they're going to be arrested as part of a cult/crypto scam. I'm not sure where we're going to go with that yet. Now, I'm very accepting. I consider myself a progressive liberal, so I had to make it very clear how accepting I am, and it has blown up in my face a bit because now I'm getting invited to the sex parties. I don't really want to go because I don't have the self-esteem for it. I end up in the corner crying, watching Steve getting jacked off by a bunch of strangers. No, sorry, Steve. But I have heard a lot about these parties. One of them, it was on the anniversary of the opening of Joyride, and they brought out a birthday cake, and it was promptly sat on. Now, if you ever worked in an office, you know that people fucking love birthday cake. So there was presumably at least one person wandering around with a paper plate, trying to get to a less smushed bit, and then peeling pubes off the icing before they got biting. Now, you might be wondering that, well, a lot of people on this stage will be talking about their own dating experiences, and yes, I have just told you about my friends. I am allowed to do this. Steve and Elizabeth have signed off on it. Elizabeth is actually here in the audience somewhere, hopefully still, and I'm very sorry. Steve is currently, he would be here, but he's currently at the very same orgy that he bought a ticket for. I would say that he couldn't come, but there's a pub in South London.